Welcome back to WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Pikmin 2. Last episode, we left the Citadel spiders and did some work in the perplexing pool of generally just growing our yellow Pikmin. And in this episode, we're going to be ending this day off and starting the next one in the very same episode. Now, I've managed to lure this toady Boister to the shore, so if I'm lucky, I actually might be able to defeat it and get the treasure that it has. However, I doubt that we're actually going to be able to bring it back because it'll probably fall in the water. But I think it would be cool if we could sequence break and defeat this enemy before you're really supposed to be able to. So let's try and aim them at the bulb on its back. Oh man, might be too dangerous because we have to aim just perfectly so the yellows don't drown. I got it! Okay, come on, we might be able to do this! Wow, let's hope it doesn't get too far away. It moved right when I threw! Damn it. Alright, I decided to give up on that, and I just cut ahead a little bit, because honestly, all I was doing was just waiting for the sun to go down. I mean, you can click go to sunset, but I decided just to wait it out, and just have a nice look around. But I didn't want to bore you guys with my randomly looking around and just waiting, because the truth is, once you bring your yellows over there on this day, there's really no way to get them back without it taking an unholy amount of time to guide them back across the bridge, and then that small little, concrete strip, or whatever it is you call that. Also, I think it's interesting to note that gill thing on the back, you know that little plant that grows on the back? That's actually the creature's gills. I'm not exactly sure if that's the same way that it functions with those real-life slugs, but it's an interesting little detail nonetheless. And I kind of wonder how many Pikmin we lost, because we did go through the Glutton's kitchen, and that was pretty dangerous. Yeah, 23. Alright, plus we went through the Citadel spiders, so that definitely added on to it as well. They shouldn't have been that bad, though. Olimar, you're my hero, you've erased half our debt. Still, things have become a bit dangerous, so I'm going into hiding. Focus on work, and don't slack off! Well, the truth is, it's more fun to take your time. But the way I've got this set up, I think I'm actually going to finish this really quickly. And by this I mean, like, the overall game. This is not going to be that long of a Let's Play as I had originally thought. And on this day, we're going to be going back to the Awakening Wood. This is actually going to be the first of the areas in the game that we're going to finish. I have a certain way that I like to play through the game, and it involves finishing the Awakening Wood first off. And that's because this is, once all said and done and you sum up everything about it, this, including all the dungeons, this is the game's easiest area. So there are a few things you can do here with yellows that you could not have done before, and that's the main reason to return. Besides the fact that it's just generally a nice, pleasant place. Of course, those shear grubs keep spawning next to the ship, so we're going to defeat them as long as they decide to keep showing up, because every time you leave the area or like go into a dungeon, I think they keep appearing, until maybe a certain day. I know after a certain day in this area, a lot of things will change. You'll start finding some bigger pellet posies, more male shear grubs will appear instead of female ones, which generally does make things a little bit more dangerous, but not by much, really. Because the purple ones can eat, but as you've seen, they're pretty much as weak as the females. I'm not certain about it, like in terms of HP, I'm not certain. I have to check my HP list thing again. And let's just get these yellows chucked up here for the time being, so we can go around. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, first I want to get this treasure. Yes, you can get this with yellows, or later on you can go up there by a different route and get it with normal Pikmin. But yellows is just good to get this thing earlier, so you don't have to worry about picking it up later. Because as you remember from the first game, the yellows can be thrown quite high. And over here, there's a little pool of water. Because there are blue Pikmin over here, that's why we've brought yellows. There's water around here, and that's where the blue Pikmin live. And we need yellows to be able to access them. Those are the wild Pikmin that stopped us from getting 100 Pikmin in the field earlier on. Look there! Wild blue Pikmin are chasing prey near the water's edge. Perhaps by observing these wild specimens, we can understand more about their true nature. Kurt Ding, I apologize, I was momentarily entranced by them. Now, back to work! Alright, so the reason we need yellows is an electric fence. There is a cloaking Burrow-Nit to deal with as well. So yellows, you handle that electric fence. Olimar and Louie will fight that thing using their own fists. We'll put it off the fiscus with this cloaking Burrow-Nit. Bring it on, chap. And before we get to finish our fight, we get the I think this is called the healing cask. And I remember when I saw this thing in a drugstore, I kind of flipped out. I'm like, oh my god, this is the thing that was in Pikmin 2! So maybe I should just say that every time I see, like, a can of Dr. Pepper or something. Only that would be really stupid. So, of course, you couldn't just bring the yellows up because of the water in the way. You might remember that this is the exact same area. The place where the yellows are trying to break into now, that's the exact same place where you fight the armored cannon beetle in the Forest of Hope from the first Pikmin game. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, I probably did, but the Awakening Wood is literally just a remake of the Forest of Hope map from the first Pikmin game. And where the blue Pikmin are now, that's where we fought the armored cannon beetle. So, the yellows are honestly going to be in the way for the production of blue Pikmin, just as other Pikmin types were in the way for the production of yellow Pikmin. So it kind of comes full circle. So let's just call them off them fighting that Wogpole. The truth is, before those Pikmin come into your party, they actually can't do any damage to the enemy that they're fighting. It's kind of an odd quirk. Same thing happened with the tutorial Dwarford Bulborb on day 1. At last you've encountered them. They seem to have gill-like ducts on their cheeks. I don't see that. I see their mouth, though. They must be blue Pikmin. Like the other types, they look to you for direction. While they are indeed surviving naturally, they still seem to long for a valiant leader. Well, then I suppose it's good that we're commandeering their efforts from this point onwards. So now, we've just gotta grow these pellet posies around the onion. Just like with the yellow Pikmin, I don't know if I mentioned it there, but things like the Wogpoles, or at least the pellet posies around the onion, will disappear on later days. And I'll mention that these things here are the ravenous whisker pillars that I mentioned on another day, that they eat the berries. It looks like they're spawning and going after the berries now, so I'll just speed up to, the blue Pikmin growth so you don't have to watch it. Then we'll continue from there. Alright, well that went by really quickly. In case you didn't know what that song is, but it sounds familiar, well, it's used in Brawl. It's a theme from Mother 3. Mother 3 just has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a game. It's probably my favorite game soundtrack. I think that's safe to say. Slash favorite soundtrack? Yeah, probably. And from here, now we have a nice, sizable blue army under our control. And once you have enough of them, I'd recommend 20. You can carry back that Mario Paint's treasure. Mario Paint is also apparently this composition thing. I don't know when it was available for download initially, but people have, if you go onto YouTube and search like Mario Paint for any kind of music, really, you get some pretty interesting results. They'll use this really primitive kind of music composing system to actually make some pretty good sounding things that I've heard before. I don't normally do this, but for once I might for this episode if I remember. Put something in the description, like, I have some videos that relate to this one. Kind of forget the exact terminology for that at the moment. Oh well. And as long as we're going to be heading back to the ship, because there is something that our blues need to take care of at the landing site at this point, or at least it's highly recommended that you do. I'm going to head over in that direction, and let's check out some of the ravenous whisker pillars on our way there. And maybe we can defeat them, and then I'll be able to add them to the Piclopedia. And at some point I've got to show you guys the Piclopedia, because I haven't really been showing it to you. I mean, the reason I haven't gone there is because there was really no reason to, as long as you could see the enemies on screen. But maybe at one point or another, I'll do a special where we look into the Piclopedia and I show you some interesting stuff around there. So just swarm them up to whatever they're attacking, and then before they can burrow underground, swarm your Pikmin around them, and then you can defeat the ravenous whisker pillar. They don't kill Pikmin, they only show up in some of the areas where there are berry plants, and that's really all there is to them. And when you pick them up, they writhe around a bit. So I'll show you what happens when you bring up a Ravenous Whisker Pillar and you carry it on next episode, because we're kind of running low on time for this one.